this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out.
Are you sure? I mean, there is no backing off. So, think once again. Are you really ready for this marriage? She asked, being unsure, as her son, who was not even ready to listen the word marriage, suddenly agreed for the marriage. Jungkook smirked internally before looking towards his mother, maintaining a cold look. Mom, I just don't want to discuss this marriage again and again. So the girl you have chosen, what was her name? He pretended to think, but in real, he can never forget her name. Yeah, Vian. Kim Vian. I'm ready to marry her. So, arrange the marriage as soon as possible. His tone seems uninterested, but he was more than interested when it comes to her. Okay, as you say, at least my cute bunny agreed to marry someone. Otherwise, I would have died without seeing the face of my grandchildren. She said dramatically while he just shook his head at his mother's behavior. On the aisle, he is waiting for her, standing like a gentleman he is. Soon, he saw her. His cold eyes filled with affection as soon as he saw her. He was so lost in her that he didn't notice when she reached in front of him. She smiled at him, and that's when he came to his senses and his smile disappeared. Don't forget what she did with you in the past. She left you for dying. Don't fall for her innocence. He convinced himself not to fall for her innocence. He is marrying her for revenge, according to him. But will he be able to take any sort of revenge from her when he is melting here by her single smile? Don't know, but the hatred in his heart can make him do so many things which he doesn't want to. Soon the priest started reciting the vows, and lastly he said, "The groom may kiss the bride." He took a step closer to her before pulling her close by her waist. His hazel eyes met her ocean ones, in which he used to drown once. He cupped her face before attaching his lips with her. The sudden shiver ran down in both of their bodies. He was yearning for her from 2 years, like she does. Vian entered in her bedroom, not hers, but their bedroom, while lifting her gown a little. She sat on the bed and looked here and there, admiring his room. Her gaze fell on the nightstand. There was a photo of his placed there. She picked up the frame and caressed it with her fingers. I know you are upset with me. I know what I did was wrong, but I didn't have any option. But now I'm here to fix everything. I will make everything right. She was talking with his frame, but she flinched when she heard the sound of doors slamming. She turned around and saw him standing there. He is indeed looking very scary right now. He started walking towards her while she stepped back and fell on the bed behind. He looked at her for some seconds and then he hovered above her, pinning her both hands on the bed. What are you doing, Jungkook? Her breathing became heavy because of the closeness between them, while he was staring deep in her eyes. He leaned towards her lips, but she turned her face other side, scrunching her nose, and that's when she realized that he is drunk. He chuckled. Why? He whispered, and she looked at him. Why? Why did you agree for the marriage? He shouted on her face, which made her a little scared, but she gathered herself and said, What do you mean by why? Of course, I love you. That's why. Love? He scoffed and stood up from her and laughed mockingly. Love. That word doesn't suit your mouth. And if you're thinking that you will again trap me in your love game, then drop that plan. Cause he paused and jerked her body towards him, grabbing her shoulders. I'm not that old Jungkook who will fall for your innocent face. So better stay in your limits, he said and pushed her a little before leaving from there, leaving her in tears. I know it is not going to be easy, but I will clear everything. I know I hurted you a lot, but do I had any choice? I'm sorry, Jungkook. I'm sorry. Next morning, everyone is having their breakfast, and there, Ryan came running downstairs. As she slept more than usual, she stopped at the dining and nervously smiled before wishing everyone good morning. Good morning, dear. But why are you running like this? Are you going somewhere? She asked after looking at Ryan's formal attire. First sit and have breakfast. She was about to sit, but Mrs. Jones stopped her. Not here. Sit beside Jungkook. Ryan looked at Jungkook and then at her. Then slowly sat beside him, who was silently eating his breakfast. So, where are you going early in the morning? Actually, office. Mrs. Jones frowned. But dear, it's your first day after marriage here. And I thought you took leave for some days. Yes, Mom, but something urgent came up. I'll return as soon as possible. Mrs. John nodded and Jungkook stood up, wiping his mouth. Mom, I'm going. Yes, you too. Okay, but return before 5. You have to take wine on shopping for tomorrow's function. But Mom, I have so many new dresses. It's not about new, dear. Buy something with your husband. Okay, he said and left from there. Jungkook stopped the car in front of the mall, and after parking it, they both entered the mall. Jungkook is walking ahead while Ryan is following him. Hey, walk slowly. I don't have long legs like you. He turned and glared at her. What? It's been weighing on my mind for too long. Buy anything you want. I'm waiting here. He said and took out his phone and started scrolling through it. is it? Ryan said after stepping out from the trial room, and he looked at her. She was trailing her gown. She was looking like an angel, his angel, and for some time he got lost in her beauty and said unknowingly, "Beautiful." "Really?" And Jungkook snapped back into reality after hearing her voice and looked down at his phone. "Okay, so this is final. My husband liked it, so pack this one. I'm coming after changing it." And she again walked inside the trial room. Vine is waiting outside for Jungkook as he's paying bills now. But suddenly someone pulled Vine in a corner harshly. "What the?" Surprise! She glared at him and removed his hand from her. "Stay away from me, Jack." "Not possible. But I think you forgot last time's warning. You were not supposed to be with Jungkook, but you got that much guts that you got married to him directly. Bravo, Ryan, bravo." He shouted at her, grabbing her shoulders, but in reply, she just smiled at him. "Why? Did I spoil your plan?" She jerked his hand off of her. "Divorce him." This time, she laughed a little, which was pissing Jack really bad, as he knew she is mocking him. "Really? And what made you think that I'll follow your orders?" She brought her face closer to him, and this time, her expression tells otherwise. "Jungkook is mine, so be in your limits if you want to walk on 2 feet." She patted his cheeks in a pretty manner and turned to go, but he held her hand, and that's it, she lost it this time, and slapped him really hard on his face. "Didn't I say to be in your limits?" She shouted at him, gaining other people's attention, and then left from there, while the people present there were looking at Jack disgustingly. Vine returned at her previous spot, where she was waiting for Jungkook, but this time she found Jungkook leaning on the car while closing his eyes. She noticed his heavy breathing, his popping veins. While he was trying to take deep breaths to calm himself, by looking at him, she understood that he is mad at something. She hesitantly called him. "Jungkook?" He opened his eyes. His eyes were almost blood red. "Get in." She got inside the car without saying anything. He too sat on the driving seat, but after a minute, the speed of the car started increasing. He was driving way too fast. "Jungkook, slow down." "Shut up." She got quiet, hearing his loud voice, and he only increased the speed. The car stopped in the mansion's premises, and Vine immediately got off from the car, as she was not feeling well because of the fast ride. But the next moment, Jungkook grabbed her hand and started dragging her inside the mansion. "Jungkook, leave me. What happened?" She asked him, but he was dragging her continuously without saying anything. He only stopped when he reached inside his room. He left her hand and locked the door before turning towards her. His eyes were red. The looks he was giving her somehow scared Vine, as she is well aware of his anger issues. She stepped back until her back hit the wall. You didn't change, not even a bit. Huh? She tilted her head in confusion, thinking about what he is talking, but it only added fuel in the fire. He strides towards her dangerously and pinned her both hands on the wall. I thought you changed, but no, you're same as before. He shouted on her face. Her throat seems dry, seeing hate in his eyes. Jungkook? What Jungkook? Huh? What Jungkook? My heart is still not healed from the heartbreak of the past, and you are here to give me new wounds? Why, Vayan? Why you came back? His grip on her wrist tightened, which brings tears in her eyes. But he was blind by his anger to see anything. Didn't even think that you are married now, still hooking up with guys on your husband's back?